Born in Montreal, Far From Shore crafted their sound in industrial loft spaces while recording at Red Rhino Studios. The result is Wazo. The CD has met with enthusiastic reviews from both critics and fans alike, calling it a globally aware culmination of poetry, world sounds, and rock music. Joining us in studio is lead vocalist Gandhar. Welcome to the studio.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I always love having musical artists because then we have an excuse to play some music in the background too. You're from Montreal,
yes.
And the band is from Montreal.
Montreal band.
Give us a little bit of background about how this band came together.
Well, I think we're one of the few Montreal bands that's actually from Montreal. There's not a lot of us. It actually started as a kind of hobby. My guitarist taught me how to play guitar when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
Then we all went off to different universities. But we'd meet up in the summer, we'd jam, we'd compose. Our drummer had a little studio in his basement. We recorded 3 songs. In the summer of 2004, I found myself, I lost my job, my girlfriend, and my apartment all in the same week.
Sounds like a country song.
So I said, hey, let's record a rock album. We used the 3 songs we had. We applied for a grant with the Quebec government, and we had a demo already.
Mm-hmm.
And a year later, we came out with Wazo.
Now, Wazo, the title, obviously, is something that we have to ask about. And we're listening, again, for the audience, we're listening to some of the a track from the album. What is with the name Wazo?
Wazo is a bit of a fluke. There's a word in French, oiseau.
Mm-hmm.
It's spelled differently. But we thought, wouldn't it be funny to figure out how an Anglophone, because we're from Quebec, and there's this whole Anglophone-Francophone tension happening. We use a bit of French in one of the songs. We're not part of the tension. We're part of the gluing together.
Right.
So we thought, how would like kind of a dumb Anglophone guy write out Wazo in English? So we came up with W-A-Z-O. We're like, you know what? That kind of sounds like that foul "what's up" thing happening. So we just started using it as a greeting. But it's just so much more friendly, to say Wazo than something else. So it's caught on. People are saying it. People are using it. People are screaming it at us at the shows.
I hear so many different musical influences. I hear, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because in music I usually am. I hear a little bit of Zeppelin. I hear a bit of back in the day Police sort of stuff.
Wow.
And I hear more modern Red Hot Chili Pepper stuff. I hear some Verve in there. Probably some English pop music as well.
Wow.
Where do you draw some of your influences from?
Well, I haven't heard all of that, but that's great because I think, like any genre of music, there's an evolution. And if you're not drawing on the greats, well, what are you really doing? Are you really part of that genre? Now, I can't speak for the rest of the band because our tastes are very varied, and there are a lot of stuff they like that I don't like. But my own tastes, span chronologically from Indian classical music to Western classical music, and I have training in both those. Right through the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, some of the bands you mentioned, and then even more modern bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam. I love Beck. But the music itself, I think is drawing primarily, as you can tell, on rock music. But there's these little undercurrents of world sounds.
Yeah. And is that, did it come out of all, I know that you had a trip to India, I should say, and apparently there's a very funny story about how you really found your voice in India.
That's right.
So world sounds, India, tell us all about this.
Well, a few years ago, I spent 5 months living in India, and I sort of went there without an idea of what I was going to be doing. And I discovered that I had a lot of family who were involved in the arts and music in particular, and so through them I was able to get a vocal instructor, and his name is Ajoy Chakraborty, and he's now passed away in the meantime. But he sort of took me under his wing and taught me this style of Indian classical music called Drupad, and maybe some of your viewers are familiar with that. I imagine some of them would be, but it's the oldest of all the Indian classical styles. The newer ones would be Khyal Tungri, and the sounds we associate with Indian classical music, the stereotypical that thing, that's Khyal. But the Drupad is a kind of sweeter, more sweeping, this kind of thing. And so he was very proud of that, and he taught me. But the funny story is that when I left from Montreal to go to India, I fancied myself a singer, a rock singer, a folk singer, and I could pretty much hit any note on the Western scale. Give me like a Weezer song with all the high falsettos, or U2 song, with all the screeching or Led Zeppelin song. I could sing all of that. So when I went to India and I was showing Joy Chakraborty how I was, how I sang, he's like, it's really interesting that you can make all those noises with your throat, but you do realize you're not actually singing. So it's like the ego. And I said, what do you mean I'm not actually singing? He's like, well, you're not producing pure tones. So he taught me the art of how to produce a note without having the air touch your throat.
Very interesting.
And so a lot of this type of training, and he got me back to doing scales and things like that, because I'd never done. I did a month of scales. And I think the result is that it's made singing this type of rock music that I'm doing a lot easier.
Right.
I push myself less hard, and I think the result's better.
And of course, the sound is very different than what we're hearing, both in the Canadian music scene, obviously, that we hear in sort of popular Indian music, for that matter. Tell us where people can find out more about you and the group Far From Shore, and listen to some of the samples as well.
Great. Well, right now we're in a bit of a hiatus. There's a little secret. I'm finishing up a master's degree, and that's sort of 100 pages of a lot of work.
Right.
But as of the summer, we're going to be organizing a tour. We're not at this point sure whether we're going to be doing that independently or through some companies. We are in some discussions, but we're going to wait to see how it pans out. That being said, everybody in the band has been very busy, and we actually haven't, as it is we still sort of feel that it's a hobby, but it's already kind of becoming a second career, so we're in this sort of space right now. The best place where people can find out more about us is just on the net.
Right.
Check out our website or our MySpace account, where they can download some songs, they can get songs in iTunes, they can order the CD through the websites as well. That's awesome. Probably the easiest thing to do right now. Yeah,
so it's myspace.com/farfromshore. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and see us. We do want to bring you back when maybe you've got a music video that we can play on the show, or just have
That'll be soon, actually.
Good. We'll definitely have you back soon, and have the whole band this time.
Wazo, friend.
Wazo. Wazo, guys. And Wazo to everybody watching, and stay Wazo right here, and Wazo will be back in our Wazo. We'll be back soon after this. Stay with us.